Hey, good morning, y'all. Thank you for tapping in for some real talk from the heart this morning. Daily devotions through the Bible, Genesis through Revelation. This morning's real talk is from Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 and 6. And this morning I want to talk to y'all about a grieving heart. In this life, we are faced with many grieving situations, man, things that bring grief to our hearts. The human heart knows, right, the experience of grief. The death of a loved one. The death of a loved one can cause deep grief to our hearts. Maybe a loved one battling cancer or dementia or some debilitating disease, man, that will cause us to have grief in our hearts. Loved ones who are bound up in addiction, right? When we have family members that are just caught up, man, in the chains of addiction, and we see them struggling with it, and man, it brings grief to our hearts. Or when we see maybe loved ones going through a divorce, man, we see what it's doing to their hearts, to maybe the hearts of their children, or those around them, and so it brings grief to our hearts. Strained relationships, of any sort, whether it's a husband and wife, or maybe parents and their children, family members, just ain't talking anymore because of this situation or that situation, and it brings grief. It brings grief to our hearts. And these are real reasons to have grief in our hearts. But I want to talk to you, beloved, this morning about another reason to have grief in the heart. And what about the wickedness of mankind? You see, here in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verses 5 and 6, it says this: Then Yahweh saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahweh was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. What about the wickedness of mankind? Does it grieve our hearts? We know the wickedness of mankind grieves the heart of God. But does it grieve my heart? Does it grieve your heart? Or have we begun celebrating it? We're living in a culture right now that is celebrating wickedness. Or listen, maybe we've begun to be entertained by it. And so we'll scroll through our phones, or we'll sit down and watch television, or go to the movies, and we will be entertained by the wickedness of mankind. Beloved, listen, maybe in our own hearts, there's a wickedness that we've just begun to ignore. Does our own wickedness, does it still break our heart? Are we still sensitive to sin in our own lives? Does our heart grieve over our own sin? Because listen, when we stop grieving over our own sin, it's an indicator that we've begun to settle into that rebellion to God. When we become insensitive to our own sins, it means that, listen, we've become backslidden. We've become a backslidden Christian if our own wickedness, if our own sin no longer grieves our hearts. Beloved, that means that we are walking in the flesh, and we are not walking in the Spirit when we can get comfortable in our own wickedness, or listen, in the wickedness of this world. This challenged me this morning. Because I see the heart of God here, the holy heart of God, and it was grieved by the wickedness of mankind. And another translation says it broke his heart. Does our heart break for what breaks God's heart? Or have we just become accustomed to it? Have we gotten used to the wickedness of mankind in the world? Again, have we become like those that are celebrating it? Or have we become just like, this is going to be another form of entertainment for us, where we sit down and we enjoy the wickedness of mankind? Where's the weeping at? Where's the sorrow at? Why are we not crying over a lost world? Beloved, I want to challenge you with this, right? There are reasons, many reasons, to have a grieving heart. But is our heart grieving over the wickedness of mankind like our Father's is? And that's what he sent his son for. John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Beloved, it was a wicked world that God sent his son to die for, not a religious world. God's heart was grieved over the wickedness of mankind. And he sent his son. He sent his son to die for the wickedness of mankind. For your wickedness, for my wickedness. Praise be to God for his indescribable gift, the gift of his son. Man, let's respond to that grace. Let's respond to that grace by living lives that please God. Not lives that are celebrating wickedness or being entertained by wickedness, but calling it what it is. First in our own lives, but then in this world. Hey, listen, the Lord loves you. I love you too. I'm praying for you, asking that you would please be in prayer for me. I hope you have a great Wednesday. And remember, make sure that you are hearing from the Lord, and make sure that the world is hearing about the Lord from you. All right. God bless y'all, man. Talk to you guys again tomorrow morning.